Good evening and welcome everyone to another episode of WA Streaming. Here we are coming to you live with coverage of Team WA, the Warriors of Æsir, League of Legends Best of 3 in the Style Esports League against Team Monkeys in training. As you can see on your screen, draft has already begun. We've got WA starting off on blue side here in game number 1, Best of 3. We'll see what happens. Monkeys in training on red side, and we're already seeing the bans coming in. Heavy jungle focus. Not a surprise, of course, if you're at all familiar with jungler Foldmather, to see the Master Yi banned away. On the other hand, WA looking at focusing on Team Monkeys jungler right now with the Zhao and the Lilia bans already coming in. And waiting on one more pick here. And it is going to be the Milio. I know, of course, I'm actually a sub on the team and have scrimmed just a bit. And Milio historically has been a problem for Team WA that we've encountered in Milio, a common ban for us regardless of who it is against. We'll wait and see what that final ban is going to be. It is going to be the Volley Bear. Kind of an interesting one, considering, of course, Foldmather plays it in the jungle, but we have seen it top as well. We're shutting out Silver, a new member of Team WA, is playing today. It is not Mello. Silver is subbing in for Mello for this series tonight. I got a chance to play with him. It was a lot of fun. We did not win a lot of games, but I thought he played well, so we'll see how things go in the Jarvan insta-lock here for Team WA. Again, not a huge surprise based on our focuses and scrims, but a lot of emphasis on the Jarvan. And in particular, we've been looking at different combinations with the Jarvan. So that will be the next thing I look at, is how do they kind of draft a team around the Jarvan. Something we tried is things like a Misfortune. The Galio is another one that I know Team WA had prioritized, and that gets taken away in quick succession after the Kindred, which is where the Monkeys pivot to with a couple of jungle bans thrown their way. And now the Jinx being hovered. I played a game of this. I know it's something we've talked about a lot as being, a pick that's been great against us, just very strong in general recently, for a while now. But we'll be curious what else you pair the Jarvan with without the Galio. I feel like you want something else to throw in there, and the Swain is an interesting one. Certainly some synergy with the Jarvan there, but you definitely, and we'll see if it does get locked in. It does. Okay, so Swain and Ulfbald Classic, one might even say, obviously big champion pool, but if he has a main, I think you'd have to say it is Swain. And the Demon's Hand game just released, so come on. No better time to pick it, but the one thing I'm thinking of is, the Cataclysm from the Jarvan is going to set up those never moves a little bit. Maybe throw a Vision of Empire inside the Cataclysm. If it happens to be off cooldown, I feel like most Swains are kind of using that W on cooldown, basically, so I'd be surprised, but we'll see. And then the Twitch locked in. So very, very heavy attack damage, and I'm curious what happens here with the Monkeys, because I know Silver is happy to play the Malphite, and right now with Kindred and there's the ban. Yeah, not a surprise to see that at all. You can still stack heavy armor, but without the Malphite. One thing that's interesting is you'd love to see like a Rammus, and I don't know if Silver wants to look at a Rammus top, but with Foldmather already having picked the Jarvan, I don't know that they'd pivot the Jarvan top. That would be another great pick just into this team comp. Sure, I'm sure they're going to bring in some AP somewhere. AP top laner, maybe to go for a mage support, something like that. Looking at the Gnar right now, something Mello has played. I know Silver, big champion pool as well, definitely can play the Gnar, so taking that off the board. Focusing on the top lane bans here, and I wonder if the Monkeys will still save that top lane counter pick for that last pick. And then WA now looking to the Yuumi band away, in addition to Milio, getting the most annoying supports away. And now looking at potentially a Camille ban. is going to be locked in. So here we find out what are the monkeys doing as far as... I mean, you could do Galio support. Possible they look at that as a potential pivot. I don't know that I love it, but I think the Braum suggests otherwise. Looking at Braum with the Twitch bot. Braum really great into the Jinx. For the most part, I mean, just blocking the ultimate, blocking the Zapper. I think one disadvantage Braum has is that it's pretty easy for Jinx to throw down the Chompers and block Braum's stand behind me, I think it is. From going all the way back, if he's trying to use... A lot of Brahms will do that, where they they look for a Winter's Bite, and then... Yeah, stand behind me, okay. Then they jump back, but the Jinx can kind of punish Braum a bit for that, especially early on when he's not really tanky enough to survive that kind of thing. Even if he puts the Unbreakable up, it's not going to be enough to survive a ton of punishment. But the Lulu pick now, Supang very comfortable with it. We actually played this before. I think it feels pretty good. I mean, I don't know if you're expecting Jinx Lulu to dominate lane, but it's nice for the Jinx to have everything that Lulu provides, and Lulu, of course, just really strong in general too, so it makes a lot of sense. And yeah, and that's the last thing I was looking at. Yeah, and I'm curious a little bit about this team comp. I mean, I know Silver likes the Ornn, and of course you had to have something tanky to go in here. You're looking at Braum Galio and maybe something else for monkeys. You don't want to get out-tanked too hard. But I don't know if I love it just because, you know, you ban the Camille, they take the Galio, they ban the Malphite, and then they go Kennen. Okay. So there's that AP damage threat. So trying to find a way to maybe punish Ornn for stacking heavily on armor. I mean, you know, if he has to lane with armor against Kennen, it's not going to be fun. I highly doubt it's going to be the AD Kennen here. But I would be curious about that simply because... I mean, you kind of want somebody else to go in with the Jarvan, because usually if Jarvan gets focused when he goes in, a lot of times he has a lot of trouble. If the Jarvan is pretty fed, or the whole team is ahead, it's not a huge problem. And you can come in, Lulu, Wild Growth, the Jarvan, you know, throw the Call of the Forge God in there, try to have some distractions, some disruptions, maybe get Swain coming in. You know, I can see it happening, but I do think it puts some pressure on WA. I don't think it's super easy to execute, because you don't have really easy follow-up on the Cataclysm like you would with the Misfortune. I mean, Jinx can throw the Super Mega Death Rocket in there, but you don't have the bullet time. So I think there's a little bit of a question here. I mean, because we know Full Mether likes to go in, and he's going to be looking for those angles. He's going to be the one to pull the trigger. So I think it's going to be really on the rest of the team. The communication's got to be there, and they've got to follow up right away. And they got to... Full Mether has to make good decisions, and then the rest of the team has to follow him up quickly, because if he goes in and it's not good, or the team is not there, is not immediately ready to go in, I think that's going to be a problem, because, like I said, there's nobody else going in with him. Nobody else is going to be there who's a potential target to soak up some damage in those situations where he goes in first. Maybe if they kind of play it slow, sort of encroach on territory, maybe set up, you know, what we talked a lot about in practice, setting up in advance of Dragon Timers, Baron Timers, Rift Herald, Grubs, even Scuttlecrab, just getting there early, getting there quick. And I know that's going to be a big... I'm sure they're talking about that in comms right now. It's something that, you know, we've really tried to, and we haven't been able to do it. I know we've tried to get there earlier, but we haven't been early enough. And, you know, if the monkeys in training are on top of their game and they get there earlier, it's just, you know, first come, first serve for all those objectives. And sometimes, even if you get there first, but not early enough to really establish control, you start up the objective, and then you get engaged on, teleported on, and then it's a huge disaster. We've experienced all of this, unfortunately. So, I will be curious. I think it's going to really be some execution barrier on WA to play these team fights correctly, to make sure they're setting up, to make sure that the assistance is there for Full Mather, to make sure he's not going to be overextended, whether himself or because the rest of the team is not in a position to turn it into a team fight and not just a Jarvan 1v9 in the backline. On the other hand, I will be curious about the monkeys in training, because we'll see how Kennen plays this year, but a lot of times you're going to be looking at those in the early 15-20 minutes. You're going to be looking at the other four members of the team playing. So you're talking about a team comp that is basically Braum Galio, Twitch Kindred. Now, that's 280 carries to stack up the Braum passive, so you're really like that, but it's also two very squishy carries that people can get on top of you. So I will be curious, you know, if you're against stuff like a Swain, especially, you know, where you got Lulu, polymorphing, peeling, wild growth, if you can't kill somebody during the Braum stun, then that can become a problem. If these fights extend longer, of course, Swain loves that. So, a lot of good stuff. We'll see what happens. Some interesting team comps from both the Monkeys and the Warriors of Æsir. We will head to a break now. And that's going to be a few minutes, by the way, as we've got our spectator delay. But in the meantime, we'll take a quick break, grab some beverages. When we return in a few minutes' time, we load into the Rift for game number 1. And welcome back, everyone, to our live coverage of the Warriors of Æsir versus the Monkeys in training, this League of Legends Best of 3. It's game number 1 here. Warriors of Æsir on the blue side. Interesting draft. The Jinx Lulu and the Jarvan. Not a ton of surprises here from WA. It's cool to see Ulfald on the signature Swain. I think definitely going to be a lot of eyes on him. I have my eyes on Icewing being able to do a better job with the Jinx than I did. I think it's pretty likely, but I do think it's going to be interesting to watch this early part of the game, because as I talked about with the team fight with WI, you know, they're going to want to get that early setup on the objectives. They're going to want to be able to execute these team fights without Foldmaster just getting burst down, because there's really nobody that's going to be able to go in with him. And I mean, he kind of needs to go in on the back line. I mean, we'll see. I know he's discussed a bit in our practice whether he's looking more towards attempting to kind of peel in some of these, depending on these team comps and the situation, versus kind of go in. So I will certainly be watching to see how he plays these team fights, as Ulfold gets first blood in a manner of speaking here onto Kermal's Galio. Checking out some of the runes here, a whole lot of Conquerors. Lethal Tempos a piece down there in bot lane, and Tree to be 23. I like that name. Already taking a few chunks out of the health bar down there in bot lane, and you can see with the double ranged Icewing and Soup making good on that promise out of draft, and already hitting level 2 first, pushing Wonder and Tree off of the bot lane. Junglers opposing sides here, and yet Kermal taking so much damage. You can see Ulfold stacking up that Conqueror. Laners mid and bot lane for WA already making their presence felt. Now, I didn't spot that out, but you can see a ward down there, the rafters. I'm guessing that was Kernal. Maybe it was Paul that threw that down there, so they know Foldmaster's pathing towards bot here. Not that it's a huge issue. I don't think you're expecting a level 2 dive. And Wonder and Tree already pushed under their own turret. So, be curious if both junglers just opt to kind of full clear here. We'll check in on this wave top here. And I can't even quite tell where that's going. It looks like pushing just slightly for final captain. Gonna say if Silver might be the target there for Paul's Kindred. There's no wards down that would spot that out, and it does look like Paul's looking. And yeah, has an angle right now. Meanwhile, taunt mid, Kermal versus Ulfold, a ton of damage on both. Meanwhile, final captain almost getting solo killed by Silver. Looking at potentially gonna have to flash away here. I think he should have probably gone for the flash and the kill on the Kindred. He's barely gonna go for both. Oh, you gotta feel bad there. I think if he just flashes and is able to take down Captain, with Flash for Captain and Paul both available, probably they can make it out unless they're pretty slow in the reflexes there. So I think Silver probably making the call that, you know, best case scenario, they trade flashes, and he'd rather not do that. But probably had the opportunity to flash away and survive at least. But I think was hoping to get a kill there, and boy, almost had it. First blood over to Paul's Kindred, excuse me, actually on the final captain. So we got that kill, and see Tree and Wonder taking the beating down here in bot lane. And we'll see how many under the turret they can pick up here. There's a couple. And yeah, end of the day, they're only down 1 CS. So yes, the health bars do not look pretty. Potions used by Wonder, but they're not really down farm. Now that's a pressure I feel in lane sometimes down there in bot lane, where you are really doing a ton of damage and feel like you're pressuring the opposing AD carry, but you know, at the end of the day, they're picking up basically every CS that you are, and that doesn't feel great because, you know, they're going to recall and heal up eventually in the fountain, and then the only difference at that point will be the gold and the items, of which there won't be much of a difference. Come on, really taking a lot of damage here. I wonder if Ulfold looks further. Boy, I bet if he had Ignite, that would be it, and there it is! The claw! Now Paul's gonna flash and look for the follow-up. Ulfold gets the pull, but will fall, and that is the first kill of the game there for the Kindred. So a 1-for-1. Flash actually not burned by Colonel, interestingly enough. So there is gonna be that flash difference, but Paul's flash was used. And I wanted to check in here. I didn't get a chance to look at the marks. So Paul does have 1 mark, and I believe that was onto Silver earlier. But now look for the return gank. No flash. Colonel does have a flash. Oh, this is ultimate though. Paul does not. Colonel does not. Here comes Boldmather. This is going to be huge. Looking for the Kindred. One more auto should do it. And the kill credit given over to Ulfwald. Good guy, Boldmather, giving that over. So Fold did burn his flash there, and Ulfwald had to teleport. So some more resources invested, but evening things up here 2-2 in the kill department. Now with the grubs on the table, and this is something I talked about, was the setup for the objectives. This time you can see Boldmather and Soup setting up for the Drake and being happy to trade that for the grubs, and we'll check in on those grubs. Already haven't been started yet, but I don't think that'll make much of a difference. So looking, see if they, I don't think they've spotted, oh, they have spotted out. They know Tree to B is top, so they can look at a dive here bot, but yeah. I think that was called off, and Boldmather opting for the safer option here of just taking some jungle camps away from Paul. Kindred has now picked up level 6, has the Lamb's Respite, so that is big. And I'm curious how far Wonder is from 6. Yeah, about 75%, maybe a little extra. At least having that would help. Meanwhile, you really want Supank to be level 6. I think that's the biggest thing for the dive here. Yeah, not really close. Boldmather does have the Cataclysm, but yeah, now Tree to be is back, so this could be trouble. I think, yeah, if Wonder was level 6, maybe you're actually concerned here, but oh, okay, now Tree, there is the Cataclysm, and they get Tree. Didn't use the flash, just they stand behind me. Meanwhile, here is Paul, caught once again. Lamb's Respite should come down here, and there it is. And Final Captain's going to look for the ultimate with the Galio on top. A little more damage from Ulfwald, finds it. We'll see if the healing is enough. The taunt is there. Silver has no mana, though. He can't help Ulfwald, though, healing so much. The Demon Ascension there. Meanwhile, Icewing looking for a little bit more. Flash, the auto is there. Ulfwald still going top lane. Meanwhile, wins across the map for WA. Ulfwald's ultimate never ending here. And I don't know. Colonel just barely with his Justice Punch. I thought that was going to be yet another kill over to Ulfwald, so he does fall. But overall, that brings us to 5-3 in WA's favor. They traded the Drake for the grubs, so neutral's pretty even. But that is going to be first to 3 kills for WA, and equal on the objectives. And looking at bot lane, that turret is really worse for wear. I mean, the trade where you sent Tree to B, the monkeys did rather, to try to secure those grubs. You know, Wonder, he lost a lot of farm there. Forced off of the turret. Lost a bunch of plates. That's a potential target. You know, we'll see if now, especially with Ulfwald being so strong, maybe WA can look at a Rift Herald, but they might not even need it just to try to pick up that first turret bot. Supank could be in trouble here. Winter's Bite. Winter has the ultimate. Doesn't go for it, though. Yeah, they don't see Boldmather, so they're not sure on that one. And Colonel, no ultimate, no teleport, a bit far. No mid laner there. Paul, that's one, you know, big advantage for WA right now is the ultimates there are such a long cooldown. Such a long cooldown for Paul and Colonel. Okay, now here we go. Wonder, they found Soup. Wild Growth is there. Wonder is taking a ton of damage, but everyone flashed out. You wonder, oh, there it is, Super Mega Death Rocket. Use my mouse reach there, and oh, Paul versus Icewing. Oh, if that Zapper connected, I think Ice maybe looks to push. But no, it's a 1-for-1. And oh, here comes Ulfwald. Colonel is here, but these are not 2 that can take down the Swain with 4 kills. Now Tree could be in trouble. He's going to be burning. Blackfire Torch. Under the turret goes Ulfwald. It's Supank that picks up the kill. Soup does like to take a couple of kills now. Kidding, I'm kidding. It's fine, you know. It's all right. I'm sure Ulfwald had a sly comment there for that one, but Soup picks up the kill. That is Tree to be down, and now Paul does have the Lamb's Respite. Silver versus Final Captain here, top lane. Ultimates, Call the Forge God, traded for the Slicing Maelstrom. Meanwhile, Icewing taking some damage from Paul. Looking to look for the Lamb's Respite under the turret. You gotta be nearby the Kindred to make sure. Oh, it's a disaster. And it's hard without the flash. You know, you want to get back under the turret, but you know, if they could just try to ensure that Paul had to use the ultimate as quickly as possible and had to use it near Icewing, just maybe there's an angle there. But instead, it's another kill over to Monkeys in Training. It's the first one on Icewing. They're still up. Couple of waves here bot lane. Picks up the Yuntal Wild Arrows. And finally, Wonder gets a plate. And I talked about the Rift Herald, maybe throwing that bot or mid Ulfold with 4 kills. Pretty strong right now. So it's being spotted out, but it's being traded for a Drake now. So the opposite of what we saw earlier with the Grubs. Excuse me, not the Rift Herald, just the second set of Grubs have been playing too much Swift play. So that's going to be 3 Grubs to each team, and then a Drake to each team, so split right down the middle. Look for the Mega Death Rocket. Let's find a Kindred, but not the Drake. That will go to the Monkeys. Gold about dead even here. It's been a bloody game, but I think WA pretty happy with 6 of those 7 kills onto their mid and 80 carry. Icewing will be flashless for a bit longer here. And you saw how huge that could have been. I mean, you know, Icewing would have flashed back into the Lamb's Respite if he had that summoner spell, and that could have made the difference there in that bot lane fight. At least threatened maybe another kill. Comes Wonder World out of the shadows. Wild Growth from Soup. The knock up, the exhaust. Not going to be enough. Wonder World picks up kill number 3 there. Soupank. Icewing's flashes back, but Soup's not yet. Had the exhaust. Not enough to evade. Not Icewing. Here comes Fold Mather looking for the double knockup. Finds it. Cataclysm there. Onto 2. Meanwhile, Demonic Ascension. Could it be a couple more autos? 1 down. Ulfold has killed Braum. Icewing has taken down Wonder. All now with the Trinity Force. Enough to start to eat through that Swain health bar. No resistances on Ulf just yet. Looking for the Mega Death Rocket. No. Doesn't kill Paul, but it's a 1 for 2. And again, more kills onto the carries for WA. Down gold now, and you see Final Captain left alone there. Top lane, Silver actually teleported down to help. Hate to lose Ulfold there, but at least, again, you get a couple of kills, and now maybe you get the first turret here. You know, Captain's going to be looking. They can't stay for that, though. They got to get back top and make sure that Captain cannot pick up that first turret. But I think it's going to be close. Call the Force God can come in. It might need to, because Captain's going to be looking for that turret. Direcky Hammer does not care about this, but it's actually pretty important. And Silver will force Cannon off for the time being. Paul looking for the dive here. Fold Mather knows that he's hovering. Well, he's on his blue buff. He's mine, hopefully. Maelstrom available. Call the Force God available. Silver, a lot of damage slicing. Maelstrom, here comes Paul. Flash away by the Ornn. Silver back under the turret he goes. A bunch of damage there. Fold Mather just a tad bit too late. And cannot protect that turret. And now looking, Fold Mather actually gets the flash because Ulfold is on the way. And now, not able to get the Never Move there onto Colonel. And actually probably a good thing, because 3-2B would have been there. Paul could have collapsed in. That could have been bad for Ulf. So first turret over to the Monkeys in Training. So it's going to come down for the feats to who picks up those neutral objectives. See Ulfold up. About 20 CS and change right now. Same for Icewing. Silver down about the same there in top lane. And Paul... 4 kills now on the Kindred. Definitely beginning to get pretty scary. We'll do a check-in here on the marks. Up to 5. So Paul's been doing a great job with the marks there on the Kindred. Has already hit that 4 breakpoint. 7's the next one, and then 10. But already having the 4 means Kindred is a champion, and now Silver could be in trouble. Can't be another mark because Paul just got one off of Silver. But Dewey as top laner going to be in a world of hurt here. And surprise, Call the Forge God does come out. Not going to be able to use it. Looking maybe mid for some kind of play. 5 kills now on the Kindred. Not able to find Colonel. Rift Herald could be the target. I don't think WA can contest this. Lamb's Respite, every cooldown available here for the monkeys in training. WA have their ultimates, but I'm surprised here. They are first here before Wonderworld is here. So that maybe what the thought is, that they can at least buy time. Silver doesn't have teleport, but he is up in 7, but they need to buy a lot more. Fold is very strong, but I don't know that he can survive a Slicing Maelstrom. The Lamb's Respite is almost nice for the Swain, just to be able to stand in that and soak up with the ultimate. I think that's a nice pick with the Swain into that, and that is what WA did in the draft. Spotted that. Move here into Tree to be. Unbreakable comes up, and now Silver is back. Rift Herald not taken, so they've bought enough time. Nicely done by the Warriors of Æsir to delay. Now, okay, Colonel taking a lot of damage here. WA is hesitant to commit here. Glacial Fisher comes out. Paul never move on to the Chompers. Looking for the Kindred. Still, WA such patience here. Finally, Opal flashes forward. Looking for Paul. There's the Demon Flare, the Ascension, the Cataclysm. The knock-up, the combo is huge. The Slicing Maelstrom comes in, and the Hero's Entrance is going to buy some, but not enough. WA eradicates the monkeys in trading. 4 for 0. They'll take a Rift Herald. They've blown the game wide open. The gold is still leaving, but we'll see what they can do with this Herald. Wonderworld, the sole survivor there. Crucial from Ulfold to get that flash, never move, forces the Lamb's Respite. WA hurdles their way, leaps into that ultimate. And while Captain's Maelstrom into the Hero's Entrance looks spooky for a second, not able to kill anyone. And I'm kind of curious as well with the Kennen pick coming in late. You know, Kindred Galio, certainly a kind of a tried and true combination. But I wonder a bit if there isn't a bit of the anti-synergy here. And you've got the Slicing Maelstrom, because you really... I mean, I understand the theory probably is that you Slicing Maelstrom right as the Lamb's Respite is ending. Or hopefully you don't even have to use it. But in practice, in that situation, when you got the Call of the Forge God, you've got the Cataclysm, you've got Ulfold standing in the middle of everybody, you've got Lulu, it's pretty hard. You know, you don't have this clean fight to execute that I think the monkeys in training would like. You don't have this, okay, we just got on top of everybody at once. You know, you'd like Captain to get in there and Slicing Maelstrom first, probably. But since you can't do that with the fear of the Lamb's Respite unless you get a really clean look, you're kind of left just waiting around for it to end. And yes, you could see Captain can press his ultimate and time it for when it ends, but so can everyone in WA. I mean, it's completely telegraphed. So you're not going to get a Slicing Maelstrom without Silver coming in with the Searing Charge, without maybe Foldmather with a Flag and Drag or a Cataclysm, Wild Growth from Soupank with the knock-up, Ulfo with the Never Move. There's a lot of tools, even the Chompers from Iceman, that can be thrown in there to time to coincide with the end of that Lamb's Respite, and that's going to make it pretty hard for Captain, I think, to get the clean Slicing Maelstrom he'd like. But here we go. Polymorph very quick there from Soup. Exhaust. Soupank, Wild Growth. Still, they cannot kill the Lulu. Maybe a couple more autos will do it. Soup flashes away. Ice Wing now hitting Pakapal. There's the Lamb's Respite. Looking for more as the Kindred finally will go down to Silver's Orn. But boy, that is just crazy. And he's able to single-handedly execute that dive on the Kindred. Very fed Kindred. Wolfball teleporting in, Silver coming in, but everyone is there too late to save Team WA's bot lane, who are killed from Paul, who had the safety of the Lamb's Respite under the turret. At least some vengeance there for our Orn. But for now, the gold's still very even. Boy, if that Never Move connected, Tree to B just died. Almost just dies anyway. There's nobody here. I mean, Ulfold, if he hits a Vision of Empire on the Braum, you know he's looking. Oh, or maybe a Super Mega Death Rocket from downtown. Ice Wing picks that one up. Nice little geometry there. Maybe try some Vel'Koz bot. Wonder could be in trouble here. Doesn't even have any mana. He will have the ultimate coming up soon, but probably only has enough mana for just the ultimate. Nobody else nearby. Paul kind of hovering, but doesn't have the Lamb's Respite. Not interested in fighting as the Kindred unless he has that ultimate cooldown. Checking in on marks, he's at 6. So he'd love to get one more. That's 7. Break point. Oh, and the charge didn't come through by Fullmather. I wonder if that was intentional or not. Now it could be in a lot of trouble. Paul picks up that kill. I don't believe that was a mark. Oh, it was. He did actually have Fullmather marks. So that is 7 for Paul, along with the 8 kills. Has the Collector looking towards an Infinity Edge, I assume. Already has the BF towards that. Very, very strong Kindred. Wonder will continue to scale as well. Jinx and Swain, certainly no slouch in the scaling department either, and they have the bonus of the Ornn and the Ornaments. Paul could be in trouble. Ultimate will be coming up really soon. He's going to buy just a little bit more time, a couple of seconds here, and now he's got that ultimate up. Flashing over the wall comes Colonel. Now Paul could be in trouble. Surprised he didn't burn the ultimate there. Paul taking a couple of sewer skewers here from Wonder and does actually die. Final Captain teleporting in here mid lane. And they've got to be sad about that one. Paul was so low, but had the discipline to not use the ultimate. Here comes Ice, here comes Soup. Fullmather, they're looking. Call the Forge God there. And there's the Lamb's Respite. They're going to time the rest of the CC. Ice Wing looking. Soup Pack coming around the wrong side here, but not needed as Fullmather already kills Paul. Ice Wing takes down Colonel. And now the chase down. Get excited, Ice Wing. Front and center. That will be it, but WA picks up 2 kills. They do lose that mid lane turret, and we continue to watch this gold stay absolutely deadlocked at 39,500. 2 Drakes now for WA at least. Does help. Has gotten them the feats. And we see some of the ornaments coming in now with silver level 14. Now Otacon will be secured by Team WA. Saw some pings down that direction by the monkeys in training, but late to the party. Followed now with 6 kills and Ice Wing, who has quietly ascended to godhood here with 7 and 2. Has the Infinite Edge. Here we go. Cataclysm. Flag and Drag. The Lamb's Respite is not here. Slicing Maelstrom, though, on the 4. Could be used. Ultfall, Demonic Ascension. The exhaust from Soup. Here comes the Twitch, though. And the dual AD carries of the monkeys in training rip through the Warriors of Æsir's health bars. This setup looked good initially, but Captain there was able to buy enough time with the Maelstrom to set everything up, bought the space. And that's going to mean 3 kills and a Drake now to the monkeys in training. And we're seeing these AD carries start to come online here, and the potential for the monkeys in training. WA is going to have to find another way in. Did not have a couple of ultimates as well. We'll see if the next fight is under better circumstances, but for now it's the monkeys in training on the front foot, up 1.5K. WA returns now, Infinity Edge, and looking for a rune on his Ice Wing. It's got to be extremely close to that now. And that could be big, honestly, just with when you've got the Lamb's Respite, everyone grouped up so closely together. The Cataclysm helps to do that too. Maybe you get a good fight in a corridor. Certainly helps to get a little more of your money's worth out of the Runins, and of course just an excellent item on Jinx. It's the dawn of time, period. Check in on the marks here. I assume 8 here for Paul. Yeah, 8. So 10 will be that next point, but already having 7 is a huge for Kindred. I mean, that's an incredible start. And the Grievous Wound starting to come in as well. Executioner's calling there for Paul, and then Tree has got the Thornmail. Icewing could be in trouble here. Does not have the flash. Has the barrier. Does not get stunned, but so much damage. Somehow Icewing lives. Directed Camera thought we should check out what's going on down there on bot lane instead of seeing Icewing survive on 1 HP. But Wonder's ultimate and Tree's flash and ultimate burn there to not kill Icewing. Traded just for a barrier and a wild growth. So WA narrowly avoids disaster in the mid lane there, but you can see just, you know, the potential for Wonder to come out of the shadows here. The Braum Twitch, you know, Tree can kind of be lurking and then stand behind me, jump in. There's the Chompers, the Flag and Dragon, down goes Tree. Kill number 9 for Icewing. 80 carries apiece. Paul versus Ice. Race to a dozen kills, I think. Both on track. Runen's now coming in there for Icewing. Curious if we'll get the upgraded boots. I do think those feel pretty nice, especially into this comp, just to be able to maybe sidestep a Winter's Bite. Make sure you don't get stunned. And the Baron going to be started here. No Braum, but support teleport coming in now. Silver, Ulfald trying to run interference. Watch Captain, watch the Slicing Maelstrom. Wonderworld looking to come out of the shadows here, looking for the ultimate. It's going down very low, 3,000. Paul's going to have to go in here and try for this steal. It's going to be a 50-50, full mouth 1,500. Call the Forge God. No, Kindred can't get in. The Baron's down. Slicing Maelstrom under the back line. Icewing still alive. Taunted. Grabs a couple of fruits. Double kill now for the Galio, but Foldmather finds some of his own. The backline's getting slaughtered, but Ulfald's still alive. Foldmather's still there. Silver with the flash, and it is Ulfald with kill 7. And a bold move by the Warriors of Ice here pays off to the max here as they pick up a 2 for 4 and a Baron. Turret goes down. And you saw Captain jumped in there, but Supank, again, the exhaust, I think, was just barely up, and all those, some of their spells and cooldowns, just barely enough to keep them alive long enough to kill the Kennen. Colonel at least comes in, and for Monkeys in Training, makes it a little bit more of a trade, but a very lopsided one at that, as Ulfald emerges from the fight with some kills, a lot of gold, and completely full HP. You wouldn't have even known it was a Baron taken turn into a team play. And you can see the tankiness starting to come in here for Foldmather. Has the Frozen Heart. Such a good item here into the Kindred Twitch. And Tree to be again could be caught. Paul's coming in now, looking for the Kindred. Lamb's Respite is up. Is it going to be used even? No. And I don't know if Paul was just CC'd and couldn't, or just figured it was not worth trying at that point, but that's going to be Drake to WA. Huge catch there. They don't get Tree, but they get something even better. They take down the Kindred, assure that there's no Smite Steal possible, and now WA on that precipice, threatening Soul, and up 3,500 gold. Couple of things to watch now. Some Zanya's coming through. Zanya's for Ulfald. Seeker's Arm Guards here for Colonel and Final Captain. Those can be big, especially for Captain on the Kennen if he's able to jump in. Maelstrom, go golden. Classic. Oh, Tree could be caught here. Flag and drag. The Fisher, but it's not going to be enough. And now look at Icewing's attack speed. Let's check where he's at right now. That's wrong. Now this could be game. Icewing looking for the follow-up. Takes that Wonderworld. Flashes away. The Jinx with 12 kills now. WA's 80 carry going absolutely berserk. Paul has the Lamb's Respite, was not able to save 3 members of the team, and I wonder if WA looks for the end. Never move, flash, flag and drag, Paul flashing away, under the turret goes WA, and now flash out by Foldmather, still pushing. They've got a couple of seconds here on Tree to be. There's the never move, Ulfald finds it, and down goes Paul, and that should be the game. Polymorph, another kill here for Icewing, 13, 4, and 10 for the Jinx, and WA, 29-19, win this one in 30. And you can see the damage stats there. Ulfold and Icewing both carrying the load in the damage department. And wow, how about that 34.7k from Pakapal trying to carry this team. You can see the final score. The Kindred really having all of that gold, 13,500. But not as much as Ulfadai still by game's end. We'll check out a few more stats here as we see damage healed. Pretty crazy. Surprise with Full Mother there with the Sundered Sky, Conqueror, a few other tools. Quite a lot, the Kindred as well. But a strong performance from WA. You know, I think what I liked most is that they were able to hold on. You know, there was a few missteps, a few questions, a few shaky moments, but held on, scaled till the end, got those big team fight wins, and move on to game 2, where they can threaten a potential 2-0. We will head to a break now. When we return, we find out if that's what happens or if we're heading to a tiebreaker in game 3. Off to a quick break now. Don't go anywhere. And welcome back, everyone. We are here live now for game number 2 between the Monkeys in Training and the Warriors of Æsir. Let's update that score because game number 1 was a victory for Team WA. Just over 30 minutes. They emerged triumphant over the Monkeys and now look to clean up this series 2-0. We hope here as hometown fans, or perhaps Monkeys in Training will take us to game 3. Bands already coming in. Familiar from WA, but now that they are on red side, the Monkeys on blue, the Monkeys take that Jarvan away. They liked what they saw. And WA keeps the first 2 bans, Leah Zinzao. Not afraid of the Kindred. Ban away the Jinx that Icewing absolutely dominated on in game 1. The Monkeys, on the other hand, they keep the Master Yi ban, and Mordekaiser ban from game 1, but now they ban Ulfwald's Swain. So both teams adapting, Monkeys opting more to ban or take away some key picks that WA on blue side picked up and won with in game 1. Meanwhile, WA now on red take away the Jinx that they themselves enjoyed. And another pick, so the funny thing is this is the same picks that we did the last series I played with Team WA as AD carry. I went Jinx game 1 and then Xayah game 2. So Xayah now for Icewing, and meanwhile Foldmaster picks up the Volibear. Now that is left open. It was banned in game 1. So Volibear and Xayah picked up for WA, and there's the misfortune for the Monkeys in Training. So Wonder, no Twitch anymore. Now it's Misfortune Jarvan. And this is what I was talking about in the draft in game 1, where you do kind of want something, and they stick with the Braum there for Tree to B. But you want something that can really synergize there with the Cataclysm, and you can throw that bullet time over the top. And that can really help Jarvan, even if you don't necessarily have somebody with him. With the Braum and the W, you probably do. But even so, it really helps. You know, the Cataclysm not only, you know, kind of corrals one or more targets to be hit by the bullet time, but also it can protect Jarvan. A lot of times bullet time can be useful for just zoning or confusing the enemy team. A lot of times, you know, there's certain angles where it can be really effective in that regard. You know, you're not always going to get the Pentakill with the bullet time. Sometimes you're really just looking to kind of cause some damage, interfere with the team fight, just add more carnage, more chaos there. So we'll see if Wonderworld can make that happen. Meanwhile, Xayah and Rakan now paired together. Rakan there for Supank with Icewing in the bot lane, and crucially, definitely, you know, a fair amount of slipperiness here. You know, you've got the Featherstorm, you've also got the quickness there from Rakan, the Grand Entrance, you've got the Volibear, you've got a lot of tools to get out of the Cataclysm, and a number to kind of get onto the Misfortune and try to disrupt her ultimate. I think the Monkeys in Training have kind of foreseen some of that, having added a fair bit of peel already for the Misfortune, but that's something I'm always thinking about from the AD carry perspective is, yes, Misfortune can be huge, but you really need to set up both your team supporting you and an enemy team that can't really easily disrupt it. You know, something like, you know, a Hui who just, you know, or a Xerath or something who just drops a bunch of stuff, pie plates from a screen away onto you. Or some crowd control. I mean, a Rupture from Cho'Gath is huge. I mean, even just the Feral Scream. I mean, you get in a weird situation. Victor, you know, throws down the Arcane Storm on top of your head. There's a lot of stuff that can be done that can become a problem with the Misfortune, but if you have a good setup, it can mitigate a lot of that. And you see the bans coming out now. Same top lane bans here for Monkeys in Training. Gnar and Malphite banned away. And now the Garen banned away by WA. And looking at the Shannon saving counterpick for Ulfwald there in the mid lane. Swain was banned away. Only one ban against Ulfwald in mid, and it was the Swain in which he was so lethal in game 1. The Galio banned away, though. They weren't a huge fan of that, even if it didn't lead the Monkeys to victory in game 1. So some changes here to the bans, 3 of them for the Warriors of Æsir, and now we see what the final 2 picks for the Monkeys are going to be. The Kennen again. I did think Captain had some great ultimates. It was a challenge, I think, to coordinate that with the Kindred. I think that was a big thing. And, you know, if you're not able to kill a couple people instantly, it kind of runs out of gas a little bit. But it Could be challenging. I mean, there's so much peel for the Warriors of Æsir. It's going to be hard for Captain to really hit home here. And they do throw the Orianna in, so that is a huge wombo. It's a very, very clear goal here for the Monkeys in training. You go with a Jarvan who has the Orianna Shockwave on him, or maybe you put it on Captain on the what's it, Kindred, the Kennen. And Ulf will go for the Malzahar. He's been loving it this year, and he's going to bring it back in. Counterpick there to the Orianna. So Malzahar the pick now into the Ori in mid. So again, so many tools here, and you really worry. You got the Jarvan or the Kennen trying to come in there with the Orianna Shockwave. Now you just get all of a sudden, Malzahar says, oh, you're trying to play the game? Afraid I have an Arbor. So, could be challenging. Could be challenging here for the Monkeys in training, but I think crucially for them, you know, yes, Nethergrasp is going to come out, but you've got both Jarvan and Kennen that can go in. So you've got two targets. Opal can only ult one. But I think that just makes the fights a lot harder to play unless you pay the Quicksilver Sash tax all around. Or if you work for Riot Games support, you take cleanse. But that being said, you know, I question with the Featherstorm, with the quickness, you know, if Supank is pretty good on that. And some of those Lulu polymorphs, exhausts coming out pretty quickly. I mean, he's got the reflexes. If he's on his game, you know, there can be some quick feelers. Silver has been pretty good with the teleports. I imagine he'll be watching for the Shen ultimates, the Stand United. So there's going to be so much here to keep Icewing safe, or Ulfwold safe. And I think you're going to have a pretty hard time executing these fights with that many tools at WA's disposal. But we'll see. First game was a bit chaotic. Game 2, I'm expecting just maybe more of the same. But for now, we head to a break for a few minutes here, get our spectator delay for competitive integrity. When we return, we load to the Rift for Game 2, match point potentially for the Warriors of Æsir. We find out if they can 2-0. And on to the Rift we go for game number 2 of this best of 3 series between the Warriors of Æsir and the Monkeys in Training. And as if on cue, we have a nice little freeze in the client here that hopefully ends. Usually, there we go. Usually these aren't terrible. So some adaptations in draft. Captain and Tree to Be in the side of Monkeys keeping their same champions, but Wonder changing things up into the Misfortune. Bakapol takes the Jarvan away from Foldmather, who on the other hand picks up the Volley Bear. Oh, Paul just barely not able to get that ward. Maybe, if Colonel was close. Foldmather could be some trouble here if it gets drawn in too far, but doesn't happen just yet. Meanwhile, Ulfald. Okay, nicely done. Spell Shield will protect him from the Winter's Bite. Ooh, even dodges the command attack there. Fancy feat. And we'll see what kind of ward coverage comes in. I know Soup likes this one, throwing that ward down into the mid lane brush just to stop being, you know, the old fanatic brush cheese. Make sure that that's not a possibility. And it will not be. And there we see Ulfald getting that ward down on the Raptors. They will spot Paul's path and timing heading down towards bot, both junglers starting topside. Definitely been watching Wonder World. I played a little Misfortune myself, doing the Norman Osborn. I'm a bit of a Misfortune player myself. Something of a Misfortune player, but key, I think, is to get those double ups off the minions, and Wonderworld's going to get a ton of them. And now early level 2. This could be trouble for Icewing. Exhaust just barely hitting level 2 is huge there, but Icewing still had to flash. I wonder if maybe with the barrier and the level 2 being hit, they might have been okay without the flash. I think they weren't thinking they would be just in range just as the minion died to hit the level 2, but regardless, Icewing does lose the flash there, traded for the exhaust from Tree. And early on here, a lot of those double ups with the love tap passive coming through from Wonderworld. And that's what I was going to mention, is that can be huge. I think that as the Misfortune, you really want to get a bunch of those and try to make sure you're staying even in CS or even up, and the passive helps a lot with that. Just so that you're not behind. A bunch of those now. Wonderworld forced to flash in turn. So Subank forces that. Both AD carriers now flashless, and you know both these junglers are going to be champing at the bit to get down their bot lane and take advantage of that. But the push going in the favor of Wonder and Tree right now, and Foldmather going to be looking, but the ward in the river will spot it out, and no opportunity for a gank there. But yeah, to continue my point, you know, as the Misfortune, especially in this kind of matchup, you definitely don't want to start getting behind, because I think Icewing will be infinitely more useful. And I wouldn't be surprised to see Soup roaming up for some grubs, making some calls to try to secure those early, or at least getting Drakes, certainly, and leaving Icewing to farm, because, I mean, Icewing can lose a wave or two here, and as long as it's not a total disaster, things might work out okay. But now Captain has found Foldmather. Ulfald low on mana, looking for the stun onto Fold. Could be in trouble here. Actually, flash by Paul forces Foldmather's flash as well. So Linden flashes all across the map now. 2 missing on each team. But that does help secure Paul. That Scuttle Crab and Ulfald. Whew, look at that attack speed on that Jarvan. So Paul just whittles down the health bar a bit there for Team WA's mid laner, but nothing too crazy. And now Wonder could be in trouble. Flashless the Misfortune. Blade Caller will not connect to root Wonderworld. That could have been big. You know, talked about not getting behind the Misfortune, already being down flashed and potentially dying in lane to the Zyricon. That would be trouble. Captain able to stun Silver, and you can see with the range versus melee matchup, don't all you top laners love that. Now about a bajillion pings down there around Drake. So I know we talked about some of this, you know, focusing less on grubs and more on bot lane and trying to get those Drakes secured. We kind of saw that in game 1. They did manage to swing a couple of grubs still, 3 of them in fact, in game 1, but they did not get the first 3 and had that early Drake focus. And it looks like they are going to keep that up here. So they'll have a window where they can take the Drake before the grubs spawn. And actually with Paul having reset here, I mean, Full Mather, yeah, they'll both be back there to the Drake about the same time. And I think Paul certainly suspects that. On the off chance we have a fight, Stand United up here for Silver. Teleport available for Captain. But I think one big thing that the Shen can do is, well, both these top laners can interrupt those abilities to join the fight. So I will be curious. I think the Maelstrom probably more impactful for sure, outside of kind of a really crucial Stand United on like a, you know, if Icewing is the target and is about to die, or maybe he'll fall, you know. But I was curious about the level 6s here for the junglers. Paul doesn't have his. Old Mather's already started the Drake and is a ways away from his level 6. Paul's coming in, does have the 6 here. The Shockwave will fold, warding him away. Bot lane coming up here. Priority to the Warriors of Æsir's AD carry and support, and they will pick up that Drake. And now Soup going in, looking for the root there onto the Braum. The damage onto the Rakan, and now jumping back out. Paul goes in, Soup taking some damage. Icewing looking for the root. Braum very low, Full Mather and Paul trading autos, looking for first blood. It does go to Icewing. Here's the Stand United, not interrupted. There's the taunt. Flash was still wonder. Finally, the vengeance, or perhaps I should say the punishment for the burned Flash. And Icewing, on the other hand, picks up a kill, and now that Flash will be back. 2-0 start for WA. And maybe they have their eyes on a 2-0 series win. We got a long way to go, and we'll see what happens as pings now onto the grub. So that Drake was secured by WA, and now talk about the Drake priority, but there being a window maybe, especially if you win a team fight after taking the Drake. Definitely an opportunity to take these grubs, but Ping is coming down. Paul's going to want to go in there, and I'm curious. Wolfald will not have his ultimate. Paul does have his. Full Mather has his. One grub already down. Make that 4 for WA. But Supank is not here. Icewing is not here. Wonderworld not here, but it is a man advantage for the Monkeys. And I think WA makes the call, hey, let's just get out of here. Soup is in the area. And now a pause. And I think perhaps Icewing, who's been spending a little bit of time in base here, could be the reason for that pause. But taking stock of the map here right now, CS pretty even all across the board, but crucially, kill onto Icewing, kill onto Full Mather. This Volibear was banned away from him in game 1. Now he's got his hands on it, already off to a nice start. And I'm pretty sure, I mean, I don't know that WA has a realistic angle to contest this. I mean, they are 4-4 if they go in right now, but you're going to have an impossibly difficult time to stop Paul from taking at least 1 grub. So I think already your hopes of 6 grubs are dashed. So I really, really imagine, especially if Team WA has learned anything from some of our previous games, it's okay to give things up sometimes. And you've got 4 grubs, you know, okay, you give 2 over to the Monkeys. You already have 2 kills and a Drake. It's fine. You were a little late to the party because all the focus was on the Drake, you know. You still were able to kind of smuggle away a single grub in addition, you know, so not a big deal. You're going to guarantee that, excuse me, I think I said that WA already had 3 grubs. I'm thinking of game 1, but you already guarantee that at the very least the Monkeys will not get 6 grubs. They could now get 5, potentially, depending on how this game goes, but they won't get the 6, so I think you're happy with that, knowing that you as well have no chance at getting 6 at this point, with the call being to move away, being down a man. Yeah, Supank kind of in the area now, but that being said, Level 6 for Icewing, so it does have the Featherstorm. Supank with the roams will be a bit longer to that level 6 point, but once those bot laners hit level 6, that'll be big. Only level 4 for Tree. This is not Swift play where you get, 4 free levels for showing up to lane for half a second, even when you're 0-10. Love that. I understand that the idea with Swift play is that people can play and not have to be worried about, playing horribly and getting incredibly behind and being punished for that like a normal game. They would rather be able to just mindlessly play and just get a billion free gold and experience points for running it down. So I guess that's the idea behind the mode. Regardless, taking stock of where things are at right now, should be those grubs going over to monkeys in training, but still a 1.3k gold lead for WA, and monkeys have got to be on the back foot. Keeping that in mind, they don't have any extra games to spare right now. They're already down 1-0, so this is it. They've got to get the win here. A lot of League of Legends left to be played, but a little bit of a rough start based on that bot lane team fight. Got a bit of a long pause here, so I'm going to go ahead and send us to a quick break. When we return, hopefully soon, we'll get you back into the action. And welcome back, everyone. We are finally on pause. Thank you so much for your patience. Of course, emergencies happen, and we are nonetheless happy to be seeing the Rift non-gray and non-pause once again. Icewing is back, and WA is up about 1,000 gold, but just lost 3 grubs to the monkeys in training. 2 grubs, actually. Fullbath was able to snag the first one of those. So 2-1 in the grub department. Teams look to reset, and we see where they head next. Icewing with a little bonus gold from that kill. Picks up a Caulfield's Warhammer and a pickaxe. Goldmath there, I believe, sitting on a fair bit of gold. Has the catalyst already, but that many camps plus a kill and an assist. I think he can pick up. I doubt he can fully complete. Okay, he can actually. There is the fully completed Roa. A lot of ages. So that's going to start kicking in pretty quick here. The 9-minute mark, it begins that count. So he's only going to get stronger in, I'm guessing our next fight will probably be around mid or bot lane here, with the Drake being a potential target. Flash is returning now, and Captain taking a lot of damage under the turret. Well done by him to come back. Here we go, the Nether Grasp into the stun. And that means a feat claimed, kill number 3 there. This time it's Ulfald sharing in the wealth. And not a lot for Colonel to do, especially already being down a flash from that last fight. But now maybe we can kill Icewing as a Feather Storm Soup Bank. Now is the quickness. It's going to be really hard to lock them down now. Paul is here, but oh, so is Foldmather. He's everywhere at once. Look at the damage from the Volley Bear, the quickness, the charm, the Feather Storm Icewing. Oh, I was wondering if he'd opt for the flash in, but now the bullet time is massive, and Icewing goes down. There's the Cataclysm of the ultimate. Ulfald's coming. Soup Flash. The Stand United is enough, and look at Foldmather. The damage from the Volley Bear. That's 2 kills. 3 to be. It's a matter of time. Who gets the last one? Ooh, Ulfald afflicts him with the grasp of the void there. And that is the second kill for WA's mid laner, and that makes it 6-1. Now things are looking extremely good for WA. Teleports back in to watch Colonel pick up a single plate to boot. But WA has not been shy about joining those fights, and I talked about next action being bot lane, and it sure wasn't. It involves just about everyone except Final Captain. Now Ulf could be in trouble. Flash coming up soon. Shockwave. There is the flag and drag. Ulf trying to find a return kill, and he will! Even in a 1 versus 2, Colonel could not survive. Ulf had the completed Blackfire Torch there. Quite a lot of damage on that burn from his E. Now Silver looking for Final Captain. Slicing Maelstrom available. There is the taunt onto the cannon, and Silver doing a ton of damage. Meanwhile, good control for Wonderworld. Fullmather coming back again. Flashless still is the misfortune. Hesperia is going to use it. Ignite there. Autos from Icewing looking for Trina B now. And he will fall. Foldmather picks up kill 3. Now they're going to start hammering on this turret. No. Foldmather says, I'm looking at the Drake. Silver has flash, taunts his way out. Don't know, he's going to have a ton of trouble here. If a Slicing Maelstrom comes in, could be bad. Silver will flash away now. A little bit more damage will kill him. So a return play does come across on the top of the map from the monkeys in training. And now those Void Grubs are up. And once again, we could be seeing a trade of objectives. Ulfald is here. He is very strong. I don't know if he's 1 versus 3. Malzahar strong. They've already got the 1 grub, but holy cow, look at that damage. You can see why he feels confident. He does pick up that. Wow, and look at this. The Warriors Vicer pick up their second Drake of the game, and Ulfald single-handedly forces them off the grubs, buys enough time for Soup and Foldmather to get there, and now I talked about how neither team could get 6. Oh, now there is the root coming through, and a solo kill for Icewing. Feather Storm into the Blade Caller is enough for him to take down Wonderworld. Oh, the flash, and Ulfald with another grasp. Takes down Bakapol, and now Captain could be in trouble. He's been found by Supank. Quickness, stun. Silver arrives in time, maybe to just take this kill. One final slap will do it, and at last the top laner of the Warriors of Æsir is on the board. The kill score 11-3. We still haven't even hit 15 minutes, and WA is eviscerating these monkeys. I can say that, it's their team name. I'm not gonna get banned.
Turret rating will fall soon.
Ulf, despite a number of key roams, still up 20 CS here in mid. 1 and 3 for Wonderworld on the Misfortune. And I talked about how you really don't want to be behind in this, and it's too late now. It's absolutely happened. Oh, Ulfwald doesn't have the Nether Grasp. But Colonel just wanted to at least stop that back. Foldmather in the area. Even a Stand United available for Silver. I wonder if Colonel is aware of that. I mean, the threat here, I suppose a Shockwave onto Ulf would do it, but Colonel is going to be very, very careful. A little bit more damage. Foldmather could just ult this turret and look, and I think that's exactly what he wants to do. He walks and takes a couple of turrets. Oh, he's looping back around. Colonel is going to spot it out. And here's Bakapol, who I don't think wants to fight with this Volibear. 5 stacks now in the Rod of Ages. Big bounty though on Foldmather, and now he's going to be careful. Gets out of the Arctic Fisher, and here comes Soup. And that will be it for now. Okay, now engage onto Supank. It's the knock up there into Bakapol. If Ice Wing joins this, the damage on W is going to be huge. There's the stun, the flash from Foldmather quickness. In goes Soup with the flash. Shockwave into exhaust. Flag and drag out for Pole. Soup still chasing Stand United. Looking for that taunt into the turret. Doesn't happen. Colonel flashes away there from the Call of the Void. WA not able to find pay dirt. No kills. A couple of flashes and cooldowns burned. Soup fishing there, trying to find the Braum. Not able to do it. And yeah, this is the one downside of playing these burn champs. It's real hard to try to take a turret because you just take aggro instantly all the time. And Ulf surprisingly does not have a bounty. Foldmather does, though, and he is just having his way in the jungle here. And Captain trying to take down this turret. It's so close. I think it will go down. Yes! The first turret already taken there, bought by WA. That merely equalizes it. 3,000, the gold deficit. 2 Drakes for WA. They also have 4 Grubs. Oh, it is 3-3. Oh, that's right. Okay, yeah. 1. I don't think I realized that they took... Oh, yeah, they took 2 initially, and then they were able to get 1 of those. So 3-3, the Grub score. Now Rift Herald could be the path for the Warriors of Æsir to break this game open. Scuffling over vision now, and Soup playing the Rakan as well with the Xayah with the additional distance there. Definitely useful. Soup. Very committed warder. Proud of his being in among the top echelons of supports of players actually in the Style Esports League in Vision score. He's in the top 5 still, I believe, among all players. And I think the Rakan conducive to that simply because he's so slippery. You can just grand entrance his way in and then battle dance his way back out with additional range. The Xayah Ulfwald Shockwave interrupts another grasp. Bakapol looking for the kill, finds it. Ice Wing is now here. Flashes looking for the final couple of autos there onto the Jarvan. The quickness from Supank will finish it off. Stand United, Silver is here. It's everyone backing up Ice Wing. The damage is big. The feathers are flying. There's the grand entrance. The knock-up looking for the root here, or maybe just the autos. Ice Wing picks up a 4th. Ulfwald buys just enough time with another grasp, does fall. But even in that, it's still a 2-for-1 in favor of WA. And now they'll pick up that Drake. Monkey's in training in no position to trade it for a Rift Herald at this point. Instead, it's just Captain hammering on this mid lane outer turret, but doesn't do too much damage to it. And now Silver starting to get some magic resist. Has the Hollow Radiance as well, so feeling pretty good. in this matchup against the Kin Fold Math. They're looking. I don't know if he wants this. I mean, Free to Be is there, yeah. Not quite that crazy and doesn't want to give away that 350 gold bounty, but 9 stacks on that Rod of Ages now, just about topped up. Fold is going to start this Rift Herald now. Wonderworld with a Bloodthirster completed. But certainly the magic resist, huge here. Fold doesn't have any of his own, but for Silver, absolutely. He's talking about the Orianna and the Kennen, and then the Misfortune is very behind. Now Wolf ultimately caught another grasp there onto 1, but it's a 2 versus 4. Slicing Maelstrom. Fold is down. Now Fold Mather, that big shutdown being given over to Paul. It is traded mid. They caught out Wonderworld despite a flash from the Misfortune. So make it a 1 for 2, but finally the monkeys in training find something positive. Oh no, just when I say that, now they're looking for Paul. The teleport's coming in. Icewing wants a little bit more damage, has the Featherstorm still. Gonna use it to dodge the Fissure. Does not have the flash. The Shockwave comes through the Cataclysm. That's a detonated carry for WA. Soupbank now going to the next target. Another shutdown. It's disaster for WA. 4 kills of the monkeys. And Silver could be in trouble now. The taunt should be coming up. He doesn't have flash. He's looking for that blast cone. There is the knock-up. Silver trying to get out. One more auto. And Paul has killed 4. And now maybe a Rift Herald. Fold Mather has respawned. But huge misstep top lane from WA just when it looked like the 2-0 was looking not guaranteed, but extremely likely. Just like that, the monkeys in training are right back into this game. They're only down a little over 1,000 gold. The kills have started to stack up for them. A lot of them on Paul, who was the standout for them in game 1. Probably who you want him on. You'd love to have Wonderworld be a little bit less out of the game, but he will eventually get some items. And at least, again, just throw that bullet time over the top on a clean team fight when you've got a Kennen and a Jarvan frontlining for you. Should be able to have that angle to be able to ultimate free of charge, if you will. But that being said, WA still commanding 3 Drakes. Now Atacon could be the next target. So a big misstep. The game has not been thrown away. Now Atacon will be started by the Warriors of Æsir, and late to the party are the monkeys in training. Paul has got a sprint in here right now if he wants to take it, and he won't be there in time. 2,000, and down goes Atacon. WA picks it up, and they'll get all the flowers. And the monkeys, despite that team fight, despite picking up the Rift Herald, which Paul has in his back pocket, still not with a ton of control on the map. They're going to have to find a way to use that Rift Herald effectively, despite losing for most of this game. And Fold Mather not shy despite what happened before. Here comes Soup. Quickness coming in. There's the knockup. Paul. Here comes Fold Mather with the ultimate bullet time. The Locket's going to protect him. Fold Mather out of range of that. Here comes Silver. Stand united. Another grasp onto the Misfortune. And a long team fight results in 2 kills for Team WA. And now, no Baron available just yet. But perhaps some turrets to be taken. Soup with the flash. Grand Entrance not able to find himself an Orianna. Here we go. Slicing Maelstrom. Cataclysm. Icewing trying to get back out. Will be stunned. The bot lane is already dead. Trying to turn it back around. A bit more damage, and the flash. Fold Mather secures it. Now looking for Paul. Ulf needs a bit more onto the Jarvan, and he cannot find it. Double kill there for Paul. Now Silver looking for a 1 versus 2. He does not have a lot of time before the rest of the monkeys are here. He'll have to content himself with a cannon and has to be careful here. Or perhaps Paul does. I think just trying to bait Silver in here. Another team fight. This one initially in WA's favor. They pick up 2 kills and then decide to simply cruise down mid lane, attempt a turret dive. They're not able to take down Colonel, and Final Captain and Paul's combination there was deadly for the Warriors of Æsir. Still in the lead again, but very, very messy these last 7 minutes. Only up 1,000 gold. And this is their soul here. Fold Mather respawning. Ulfald has teleport. They can come in, but they're not going to have control of the area. Soup and Icewing trying to help establish that. Silver is here. There's no split pushing to worry about right now. They can kill Paul and guarantee there's no possible smite steal. That's about the best case scenario, and that's what they're looking for. Okay. Oh, the bullet time is canceled! Cadril, he just canceled it, and Wonderworld uses that crucial ultimate. Bad news, and now Paul taking a few autos here from Icewing. Aggressive positioning there, but okay. He'll be fine. Knows he has the Featherstorm coming up in a few seconds. Has the flash. And now it is up. That ultimate is here. They've got a window here. No bullet time for Wonderworld for quite a while. Unbreakable is down. They're just trying to poke. Meanwhile, Boldmather somehow has chased Captain away. And the Kennen is dead. And now on the backline, here comes Paul. Boldmather sprinting in. Nethergrass there, the Jarvan. There's the Fisher. Knock off onto a few. It's a huge shockwave onto 4. Will it matter, though? Icewing goes untargetable. The Feathers take down 1. Colonel on the wrong side of the Silver flashes away. Wonderworld chasing. Soupbank needs a great entrance. And there it is. Boldmather chains it into a stun. And Wonderworld goes down. Colonel teleporting to safety. Back down to bot lane. Not close enough. All he can do is watch that notification pop up. The Warriors of Æsir have the Hextech Soul. It wasn't pretty, but Boldmather starts it off. After a whiffed ultimate from Wonder into Boldmather solo killing the enemy top laner. Paul found the engage, but without that slicing Maelstrom, it was not enough. Huge shockwave from Colonel, not enough. WA wins the fight. They're up 2.5K gold, and now you can see the objective bounties available there. Potentially a target for the Monkeys, but they also tell us that WA is in command of the lead here. We'll see if they can push it further. Looking at items, Infinity Edge, oh so close for Icewing. Boldmather, who's been so aggressive on the Volley Bear with the Hextech Soul, the quickness, looking for Colonel. Colonel's got to be the target here. Oh, the Stand United onto Bold. Colonel is dead, Trina B is dead. The engage, picture perfect from WA. And with those 2 kills, that should spell Baron. Captain picks up a side lane turret with the bounty as well to get a couple hundred gold extra there into Monkeys in Training's pockets. But Paul will have to steal this, and Silver is running interference to ensure there's virtually no chance of that. 6,000, 5,000, 4,000. This Baron is gone. And meanwhile, Nethergrass Ulfold with another solo kill onto Wonderworld. Death 7 for the Monkeys 80 carry. And the jungle, mid, and 80 carry of the Warriors of Æsir are just drowning in gold at this point. 7, 5, and 9, their kill scores. Cruising towards a 4,000 gold lead, 24 to 13, that kill score. And with a bit of time left on that Baron buff, we will see what WA can do with it. They'd love to pick up, you can see the pings potentially. They want to push top. They want a 1-3-1 Ulfold probably heading up there. We'll see. Spotted off on vision. Paul will be looking. So, okay, watch out. Captain also going to be looking for a flank with the Slicing Maelstrom. Now Paul could be caught out here. He goes onto Icewing. Forced to back out. You can see this Jarvan, 3 items now, has the Frozen Heart. Pretty hard to get through him. Oh, he's gone too far, perhaps. Nethergrasp is ready. There is the Blades coming out. And Icewing, flash, the root, looking for the Jarvan, doesn't find it. There's the Maelstrom now from Final Captain. Boldmather, though, on the back line is unstoppable, has found 1 kill, looking for 1 more. True to be, burns exhaust, it doesn't matter. Boldmather on the Volley Bear has 2 kills. They've lost Icewing, but they've killed 3, and they have their eyes on a 2-0. The inhibitor is down, 20 seconds on the mid and support here for the Monkeys in Training. Soup goes in, and auto onto the Recon. Not enough. Baron's still going, still pushing the Warriors of Æsir. Perhaps a little hesitant here. They don't want Paka to come in. Cataclysm, though, not up yet. 1 Nexus turret is down, but Now the rest of the monkeys are back. You could see WA, I think maybe if they all committed there, but the Jarvan could just be down, or maybe it's an overstay. We'll see already. Vagapol has been killed. The damage is big from Ulfald. Trina Beak with the next target. Foldmather bites his head off, and now Wonderworld, the next target. Foldmather under the turrets he goes. How far can the Volley Bear go? Apparently that far. And now another grasp. Ulfald wants to keep going, and they will. Maelstrom now finds 2, but Captain doesn't have the damage. Another kill for Foldmather, make it 11. And Volley Bear, the Warriors of Æsir's jungler, leading the charge, going wherever he wants on the map. And he'll take the Nexus, and the Warriors of Æsir will take the 2-0. And you can see the damage there from Ulfald and Foldmather. Huge. Ice Swing as well with a 9-4 score. And a fantastic performance by Team WA. 2-0 over the monkeys in training. And particularly game 2. Dramatic fashion, a couple of brief stumbles, but for the most part, very impressive performance from all 5 players. The coordination, you know, I talked about that in draft before the game, needing to be on the same page in these fights, needing to be able to set up on objectives early. When Foldmather pulls the trigger, everyone being ready, or when Supank goes in, everyone being on that same page. Couple of messy fights for sure, but ultimately WA was just too strong. They brute forced their way through those final fights, laid siege to the Nexus for it seemed like 5 or 10 minutes, and finished off the monkeys in training to complete a 2-0 here in the Style Esports League. That being said, that will do it from me here in the broadcast. Thank you to all of our viewers. Thank you, of course, to Team WA, and congratulations on the win. We'll hope for more of those in future coverage. Make sure to like, subscribe, follow, etc., here on the channel. This will go on our YouTube channel as well. That being said, I'll be signing off for the time being. Until next time, good night.